Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Iron Legacy. Today we're diving into a rapidly unfolding situation that has sent shockwaves across Eastern Europe and beyond. A massive Ukrainian attack has reportedly pushed Russia onto an intense state of high alert, igniting new questions about the direction of the conflict, the strategies involved, and the potential consequences for regional and global stability. In this video script, we'll break down the event, explore its background, analyze the reactions, and discuss why this moment may mark a turning point in the ongoing war. Let's begin by understanding what exactly happened, why it matters, and how the world is responding. Ukraine launched a large-scale strike targeting several key Russian military and logistical positions. According to available reports, the operation was coordinated across multiple regions, using a combination of drones, long-range missiles, and precision-guided weapons. While details are still emerging, the scale of the attack appears to be far bigger than previous Ukrainian offensives, signaling a bold strategic shift. The purpose of this sudden escalation seems tied to disrupting Russian supply lines, weakening command centers, and signaling Ukraine's continued capability to carry out deep strikes, even amid challenging battlefield conditions. This attack reportedly hit fuel depots, air defense stations, radar facilities, and ammunition stockpiles. The simultaneous nature of the strikes caught Russian forces off guard, prompting an immediate transition to what Russian officials described as a heightened state of combat readiness. This terminology suggests that Russia now perceives the threat level as significantly elevated. For Ukraine, executing such an operation demonstrates not only growing confidence, but also the advanced coordination and intelligence support that have continued to shape its defensive and offensive strategies. Russia's response was swift and intense. Air defense units were activated across multiple regions, with state media broadcasting footage of anti-aircraft systems firing into the night sky. Civil aviation authorities reportedly restricted airspace over several western and southern territories. The Kremlin also held emergency security meetings, and military commanders issued directives aimed at reinforcing border defenses and protecting critical infrastructure. Russia's narrative quickly framed the attacks as acts of aggression backed by Western powers, which remains a consistent theme in its information strategy. For Ukraine, this attack serves multiple strategic purposes. Militarily, it weakens Russian operational capabilities by targeting essential infrastructure. Politically, it sends a message to both domestic and international audiences that Ukraine is not backing down despite pressure, battlefield attrition, or diplomatic fatigue. Psychologically, it places Russia on the defensive, forcing it to divert resources, reconsider troop deployments, and potentially face internal pressure from regions close to the strike zones. Ukraine's ability to strike deep into Russian territory has evolved significantly since the early phases of the war. In the beginning, long-range attacks were limited, and infrastructure targets inside Russia appeared out of reach. But as time passed, Ukraine developed domestically produced drones capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers, and Western partners supplied advanced systems capable of precision strikes. This combination changed the strategic landscape. Russia now faces a persistent threat that challenges its assumption of geographic safety within its own borders. The recent attack also highlights the increasing sophistication of Ukrainian drone warfare. Many of the drones used were reportedly low-cost, mass-produced aircraft equipped with explosive payloads. By deploying dozens or even hundreds of these drones simultaneously, Ukraine can overwhelm Russian air defense systems, forcing them to expend expensive missiles on inexpensive targets. This economic imbalance puts Russia at a financial disadvantage and stretches its defensive capabilities thin. While Ukraine's supporters view the attack as a justified response to Russian aggression, critics argue that deep strikes inside Russia risk escalating the conflict further. Russia has already made several public warnings regarding attacks on what it considers sovereign territory. Some Russian officials claim that more aggressive retaliation may follow, including potential strikes on decision-making centers or expanded operations across the front line. The danger of escalation is real, and the international community is watching closely. On the diplomatic front, global reactions have been mixed. Countries supporting Ukraine have remained cautious, avoiding direct endorsement of strikes inside Russia while reaffirming Ukraine's right to defend itself. Nations seeking neutrality or maintaining strong ties with Russia have expressed concern about the growing scope of the conflict. International organizations have issued statements calling for de-escalation, though similar calls have often gone unanswered as both sides continue pursuing their strategic objectives. Economically, the attack could influence global markets. Russia plays a major role in the global energy and commodity sectors, and any significant disruption to its infrastructure reverberates internationally. Energy prices may spike, supply chains could face disruptions, and investors might react to increased instability. Ukraine's actions, while militarily strategic, may lead to broader consequences that extend beyond the battlefield. For Russia, the attack challenges the narrative of total security within its borders. The Kremlin has repeatedly insisted that daily life remains normal and that Russian cities are shielded from external threats. But large-scale Ukrainian strikes undermine that claim, potentially creating domestic pressure. Citizens in affected regions may question the effectiveness of the government's defenses and demand stronger action in response. Putin's leadership has long relied on projecting strength and stability, and moments like these can create cracks in that image. Ukraine's leadership, on the other hand, has celebrated the attack as a necessary step in weakening Russia's ability to wage war. Ukrainian officials argue that as long as Russia continues attacking Ukrainian cities, it remains fair and justified to target Russian military infrastructure. This approach aligns with their broader messaging strategy, which focuses on resilience, defiance, and the need for international support. The timing of the attack is also significant. It arrives during a period when discussions about negotiations, ceasefire possibilities, and war fatigue have been growing. Some analysts believe Ukraine may be using this moment to demonstrate strength ahead of any potential talks. Others argue that Ukraine wants to maintain momentum to prevent Russia from consolidating control over occupied territories. The attack thus becomes not only a military maneuver, but also a diplomatic signal. From a strategic standpoint, Russia now faces the challenge of adapting to a conflict where the battlefield extends deep into its territory. Strengthening air defenses over such vast areas is difficult and extremely costly. Ukraine may continue using asymmetric warfare to keep Russia off balance, targeting key sites while minimizing its own risks. Russia, in turn, may attempt to launch more aggressive retaliatory strikes on Ukrainian infrastructure in an effort to reassert dominance. Cyber operations may also intensify. Both nations have employed cyber attacks throughout the conflict, targeting government networks, communications, and critical infrastructure. Ukraine's recent offensive could prompt Russia to escalate its cyber efforts as a form of retaliation. Cyber warfare offers a way for Russia to respond without overtly escalating militarily, but its impact can still be deeply disruptive. Public sentiment in both countries is likely to shift. In Ukraine, the attack may boost morale, demonstrating that the nation remains capable of taking the fight directly to Russia, but it also risks leading to further Russian retaliation, which could increase civilian suffering. In Russia, public opinion may become more divided. Some may rally behind the leadership, calling for stronger military action. Others may grow increasingly uneasy as the conflict reaches areas previously considered safe. The broader geopolitical implications are significant. Nations observing the conflict will analyze how effective drone warfare has become, how vulnerable modern infrastructure is, and how asymmetric tactics can shift power dynamics in regional conflicts. Lessons learned from this war, both by Ukraine and Russia, may influence military strategies worldwide for decades to come. As for what happens next, many scenarios are possible. Russia may increase its retaliatory strikes, intensify operations along the front line, or deploy additional forces to reinforce vulnerable regions. Ukraine may follow up the attack with further strikes or shift focus to ground operations, depending on its strategic goals. Diplomatic pressure may rise as world leaders attempt to prevent the conflict from spiraling into more dangerous territory. This attack underscores a truth that has been evident throughout the conflict. Both sides remain deeply committed to achieving their objectives, and neither appears ready to step back. The war has become a complex battle involving technology, intelligence, logistics, diplomacy, and information control. Each major event reshapes the strategic landscape, and this latest attack has introduced new uncertainties into an already volatile situation. For viewers following this conflict, staying informed is crucial. Developments are fast-paced and narratives shift quickly. Understanding not only what happened but why it happened, how nations respond, and what it means for future stability is essential for maintaining clarity amid the chaos. As always, it's important to analyze multiple perspectives to form a balanced understanding. As we continue to monitor the situation, it's clear that Ukraine's massive attack has created new pressure points and raised the stakes. Russia's state of high alert reflects how seriously the event is being treated, and the world is now watching to see how the Kremlin responds. Whether this leads to greater escalation or pushes both sides closer to negotiations remains uncertain. In the coming days, more information will surface, providing clearer insight into the scale of the damage, the effectiveness of Russian defenses, and the long-term implications for both nations. What is clear now is that this attack marks one of the most significant developments in recent months, reshaping expectations and influencing strategic decisions on both sides. Thank you for watching and staying informed about global events. The situation remains fluid and will continue bringing you updates, analysis, and in-depth explanations as new information becomes available. Stay tuned for more detailed breakdowns and make sure to stay safe, stay aware, and stay connected.